So today we are um, blessed to have Eliza Love. She is a member of the Parents Challenge family. She is presently a PhD candidate at North Central University, and her dissertation focuses on classroom social emotional intelligences. She is a pre-K through eighth grade educator in Colorado Springs School District 11 with licenses in early childhood, elementary, English, language arts, and gifted education. Ms. Love is an adjunct professor at Grand Canyon University and has penned a critical thinking children's book titled, Will a Horse Eat a Hamburger? Ms. Love considers her greatest joys to be her 5 children, 2 teenage sons, and triplet 4-year-old daughters. In addition to the family chihuahuas, postdoctorate, Ms. Love hopes to act as an advocate for solo parent families, inform the family court system regarding children's best interests, and testify to reform U.S. education. And now, Eliza Love.
And I was muted. Very good. Thank you so much. It's been a little bit of time since I did my e-learning, so we'll get back into it here. I really appreciate you guys having me as a Parents Challenge participant. I understand what it's like. Sometimes we're real excited for these meetings, and sometimes you have to really encourage yourself and your students and your children to get there. So for those of you who are here tonight, I greatly appreciate it. I did gear a lot of this evening's presentation towards the middle school and high school crowd. So if you have a middle schooler or a high schooler, it's completely appropriate for them to come join us. Younger ages might not benefit as much of just in regards to the ages that I geared it towards, but I definitely encourage you to have your student come join us, if they're around, because I will be asking them questions and I'd love to get some feedback from the middle schoolers and high schoolers as well. So tell them they have to participate, Ms. Love says, and yes, they can have Halloween candy while they're participating. Alrighty, we're gonna go ahead and rock and roll. All right, Melissa, can you give me a thumbs up that you can see that in the background? You guys are good? Cool, excellent. Alrighty, welcome to Social Emotional Intelligence and Learning for Students. These are phrases that have really taken off over the past 10 years, but they're definitely not new. We'll talk about a researcher, Daniel Goleman, who is a psychologist and a researcher who found it important to look at not only people's intelligence quotient, which is IQ, but also consider their emotional quotient, which is EQ. And so we'll talk about a little bit of his work and then just how important it is for now and also in the future to really be raising kids and yourself as, as a kid, why it's going to be so important for you to be emotionally healthy and intelligent as well. Alrighty, there was Aisha did a lovely job introducing, so I won't go through it again. Just that I am so thankful to be a Parents Challenge recipient and as well a mom working 2 jobs, and I get it. So I just get it. So if you my contact information is at the end of the presentation. If you need anything or you just need some encouragement, you let me know and reach out to me. And I'd love to be, of any help that I can be. Alrighty, so what is social emotional intelligence? So again, the emotional intelligence quotient was established in addition to the intelligence quotient. The most recent publishing that Mr. Goleman did was in 2011. These include a bunch of different skills. So self-awareness, self-regulation, what motivates us, what makes us empathetic or feel for other people, and how we practice getting along with other people. It's extremely important to identify how you're feeling. Give me some sort of sign, a thumbs up, a smiley face, frowny face, a little celebration guy, horn. If you've ever just been angry or if you've ever just been frustrated or sad, you don't know why, you just know you are, right? So yes, awesome. Okay, so it's okay. That's totally fine. Having those feelings, having those emotions is totally fine. It's how we process them. It's us being aware of what we're feeling, because then that directly feeds into our actions. So when we're angry and we act on it, we don't always get the results we're hoping to get. When we're sad and we act on it, we're not going to get the results that we're going to get as we will if we're happy or we're excited. So we're going to talk about that, interpreting our emotions. Understanding that your emotions can impact somebody else. So I know parents don't know anything. I know they're lame, all that stuff, right? I just used like a 1980s, 90s where that's how lame I am. Okay. So I get it. Okay. But here's the deal. Lots of parents work really hard for you all. They work very hard for you. And they would much rather you say, I'm angry because of this, or I'm frustrated because of this, or I'm disappointed because you said you were going to do this and it didn't happen. So instead of just giving attitude, giving a little background as to why you're feeling how you're feeling, that can help them understand you a lot better. Okay. So part of regulating your emotions is also managing other people's emotions. Now, hear me clearly. You are not responsible for how other people choose to process their emotions. Okay. You are not responsible for how other people choose to process their emotions. All right. The only part you can manage is regulating yourself. But that doesn't mean that we don't have to still manage other people's emotions and how they choose to deal with them. Okay. So you're not responsible for them having that emotion unless you did something to them on purpose and you know it. But you do have to work with managing, how other people are treating you because of how they're feeling. They may be tuned in and self-aware, they may not. So you guys, can start developing the tools for how to deal with other people. Okay. So social emotional learning again refers to the curriculum materials and activities related to teaching social emotional intelligence. All right, so I'm a teacher. I don't like my students showing up and I sit them down and go wah 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 wah, wah, and I just tell them to sit down, be quiet. They got to learn what I tell them to learn because I said so. That's not how I teach. That's not how I roll. Okay. So I want you guys to know why this stuff matters. Why does it matter if I'm aware of my emotions? Why does it matter if I'm intelligent about how I communicate my emotions? Daniel Goleman, the same gentleman who did the research, found that emotional intelligence is a more reliable indicator of success than the intelligence quotient or your IQ alone. Listen, you can be smart all day long. If you don't know how to be a good person, if you don't know how to get along with people, if you don't know how to have resilience and persevere through tough situations, you can be as smart as you want to be, but you may not do anything with your life and you may not help people and succeed. 67% of successful leadership abilities stem from that emotional intelligence. So leaders know how to look at other people's skills and empower them to help an organization and to lead. You might be a leader of your classroom. When you answer a question, you're acting as a leader in your classroom. You may not know it. You're also creating a healthy relationship with your teacher because your teacher can rely on you to support the classroom learning and to work with your peers in the capacity of being a leader. So you may not think it's a big deal to raise your hand and answer a question. That takes courage. That takes compassion and empathy and caring. And a lot of those emotional quotient things that you can practice that'll make you a lot smarter emotionally. Okay. There was another study done in 2018, my quote here, that emotional intelligence is twice as important as technical skills and intelligence quotient. So again, you might be able to do awesome things, but if you can't get along with people long enough to show it, it's not going to matter. Einstein was super smart, right? But my favorite picture of him is when he's like, or whatever, with his tongue hanging out and his crazy hair. He still knew how to have fun. He knew how to get along with people, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. All right. There are, a lot of jobs and a lot of places that you're going to work at now, whether they're technical jobs or when you go to college, they're actually having students and employees fill out emotional intelligence surveys because they want to make sure that the people that they're working with are going to be able to work on a team, are going to be able to rise among the ranks and act as leaders. Okay. Maybe we're supposed to be going next here. There we go. Let me make sure I didn't. Yep, perfect. All righty. So here are some super quick ways. This is Miss Love's crash course right here. Okay. Here's some super quick ways right away to start building your emotional intelligence. First of all, is listen to yourself. Okay. Give me a thumbs down if you're a middle schooler or a high schooler or a parent of any, and you feel like you don't get listened to. Nobody really hears you. People might go, what did you say? Yeah, yeah, okay, all right, fine, we'll talk about it later. Okay. I'm a mom. I've done it. I'm a teacher. I've done it. Okay. So give me a thumbs down if you just feel like sometimes nobody's listening to you and you're not really heard enough. Okay. So that's a lot of us, right? That's many of us. So the first thing you have to do is listen to yourself. Okay. You're the one who knows yourself best. You need to listen to yourself for warning words. If you know you make a mistake and you're going to get down on yourself and negative and, well, this is worthless and I'm so stupid and why did I do that? And I'm so embarrassed. I just embarrassed myself in front of the whole class because I got the wrong answer, etc. I don't care, whatever. My 14-year-old knows this. He doesn't mind me sharing. When he gets upset about things or he gets his feelings hurt, he says, it's whatever. It's whatever. And that's just his way of like trying to shut down his own emotions about something. Okay. So the more aware you are about how you feel, the better you're going to feel sooner because you're going to learn to ask for help from those around you with how you're feeling. Okay. So if you are feeling like or telling yourself, doesn't matter, nobody cares about me anyway, nobody will care if I'm gone, etc., or you find you're acting in ways that are trying to impress your friends that aren't cool with how your family has raised you, or you're acting in ways that aren't okay with, you do something, you're like, oh, why did I do that? Or why did I swear? Or why was I okay with getting an F? I'm not an F student, right? So if you start to have things that are opposite of who you are, you got to ask for help. Okay. You could be really smart. Again, you could have a really high IQ, but you don't have to do this by yourself. That doesn't mean you have to have all the answers. Okay. We're all here to help you. There's people at school who can help. There's family members who can help. Some of your friends you might even feel safe enough to talk to. Okay. Um, so listen to who you really are versus who you think your friends want you to be or who you think your teacher wants you to be. You guys, I still struggle with this. Okay. So I work as a teacher, I have a principal, right? So I want to do what makes my principal happy. So oh, Miss Love, can you do this? Yep. Miss Love, can you do this? Yep. Miss Love, can you lead this group? Yep. And before you know it, I've said yes, and I'm exhausted because I'm doing 12 different things. So adults do it too. We agree to do too much. And we do things because we think it'll make our kids happy or we think it'll make other people happy, but it might not be what we really want. So, parents, bear with me, families, bear with me. Okay. If your family wants you to go to college to become a lawyer and you want to go to college to become a teacher, or you want to go to college to become a mechanic, have that discussion. I know you want me to become a lawyer. I know it's important that I continue my education beyond high school. Here's how I would like to do it, and here's why. Okay. All righty. Learning together your social emotional strategies that work for the family. All right, y'all, it's real talk. If your family comes home and you and your siblings are exhausted from school that day, and maybe you have sports after, etc., and you know your parents are just as tired because they've just come home from work or they work two jobs, that's probably not the time to get into real deep conversations. That might be the time to play a fun game. That might be the time to sit around the dinner table and let everybody share. We do with my kids, it's called red light, green light. So red light is one awesome thing, or red light is one negative thing from your day. Green light is an awesome thing that happened from your day. Okay, so learn your triggers. Let me see in the chat. Who knows? Somebody put in the chat what a trigger is. What is the definition of a trigger? Like an emotional trigger. Anybody? Oh, that's excellent. Somebody put a memory. A memory could be a trigger. A trigger is something that brings up negative feelings or reactions. A trigger is something that creates a feeling. So that was Adriana, Tiffany, Melanie. Thank you. Tiffany Scott says it could be too good too, though. That's absolutely right. Man, how many times for me it's like, oh, sugar cookies and that cinnamon snickerdoodles. You smell that. Oh man, it takes me to baking with my mom every year at the holidays. So it can be a good thing too. Um, Heather's talking about a negative trigger is something that sets you off or reminds you of your trauma. Oh, that's good. Aisha said being triggered is bleeding on someone who didn't cut you. Wow, that's a really great way to put it. Thoughts can trigger you, something that brings out past feelings. Benson, I love that. Sorry, Dr. Martinez says something that could start a fire, an emotional fire. I love that Benson put like an emotional soft spot. I don't know if you guys in middle school and high school know, but when a baby is first born, it has like a little soft spot on its skull. You have to be real careful with that spot because if you hurt it, you could do real damage. And that's exactly what a trigger does. Man, you all are smart. I love this. You're emotional smart and into, intellectually. I love it. Jen says something that sparks intense emotions, and then Kat says something that becomes personal to you. Very good. Kat, that last one, I love it. It's so important, you guys. So this feeds exactly into what I'm talking to. Your triggers might be different than your brothers or your sisters or your moms or your dads or your grandma or grandma, whomever you live with, or the dog's trigger, right? Okay. The dog may not be triggered by the mailman, but the dog's triggered by the Amazon guy, whatever. Okay. So your triggers are going to be different. So instead of looking at your family when you said, oh, you're a jerk, right? Now, who your dad may not care, okay, but you call your mom a jerk, you better go fast, right? Okay. So you have to learn about your family. You have to learn about what upsets your family, what makes your family happy, and they need to learn about you. Okay. So that's really important to do. Learn proactive steps to emotional support. When we're reactive, or what's called our lizard brain. So if everybody can go like this and go like that, we're in our lizard brain. Okay. We're in our lizard brain. So this is the part of our brain where we're not thinking, we're just reacting, we're just doing. Okay. So our prefrontal cortex up here, if you guys go like this and do wizard brain, like you're putting on a wizard hat, wizard brain. Okay. And some of you in middle school and high school, I'm not going to do that. Yes, do it. You got to do it. So this is wizard brain. Okay. Our wizard brain is where we're thinking because our prefrontal cortex is responsible for our reasoning. It's responsible for helping us walk through this is what happened. This is how I feel about it. This is the next step that I should take. Okay. So when you find yourself in your lizard brain, we're not going to call our brother or sister a name. We're not going to scream at our parents. We're not going to throw things. We're going to maybe ask for some space. I'm really angry right now. I need everybody to leave me alone for a minute. Okay. That's fine to say that. That's a great way to set a healthy boundary for how you feel. Okay. It is really important as a family that you guys research together what resources, are available for emergency and long-term help. So myself and my kids, we've been in counseling for a long time because that way my kids can talk about me to somebody who can help them process what I've said to them, what I've made them do, what I've asked them to do, what I've not let them do. Okay, it's important for all of us as people to be affirmed, to be told, yes, you matter, how you feel matters. These feelings are real, and now here's how we're going to process them. Okay. So if you know that you and your family sometimes has some emergency things come up, it's important to know who those people in your village are that you're going to call for help. But then even more important than the emergency is the long term, because that's what's going to keep you safe over a long period of time. Okay. Listen, the past few years I taught middle school and now I'm back in elementary school, and I work with a lot of kids who come from some rough backgrounds. I work with a lot of kids whose families don't have a lot of money. Okay. And I work with a lot of kids whose families are just overwhelmed. Okay. you might be sitting there, and I don't want to embarrass any parents or any families. My family was one of them, so it's nothing to be embarrassed about. As a kid, you might be sitting there going, my parents yell at me all the time. My parents hit me. My parents throw things at me. My parents, it's my fault. We don't have money. It's my fault, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. So listen, be the change. Okay. That's not me. That's Gandhi, by the way. Be the change you want to see in your household. Okay. You guys are strong enough at 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th grade. You guys are strong enough to model or show in your families how you should be acting. If your parents are super stressed out and they're yelling at your younger siblings, you can say, hey, I'm going to take my siblings and we're going to go outside and kick the ball around for a little bit. And you let your parents have those adult conversations. And then when it seems like they're done and things have settled down, you bring your siblings back inside. Okay. You watch your words and your expressions with your parents and with your siblings. You can engage in what's called stop, breathe, and respond. Okay. So let's all try that together. Stop, breathe, and then respond. Okay. So the counselor I worked with suggests you use a stop sign. When you, oh man, I start to feel my blood pressure. When I was younger, I would actually see red. My doctor's like, that's not healthy. And I said, okay, well, somebody tell me how to make it stop, right? So when you are feeling heated as a teen or as a middle schooler, you can stop, picture a stop sign. You're about to yell at your mom, and boy, you're going to let her have it. Or you're about to haul off and hit your brother because he went in your room for the 3rd time when you've told him 3 times not to, right? You're not going to do that anymore. You can stop, breathe, and then respond. Man, I hate it when you go into my room. I put a sign up. I've asked you over and over, why are you going in my room? And your brother going, I just really like your PS4 and you got better games than I do, and I just wanted to spend some time with you. Okay. That's different. If you hit him, then he's just going to be mad, right? But if you talk to him or her, you might be surprised what happens. Okay. Alrighty. Use I statements. I feel this way when. I feel this way if. I get frustrated when. I would like to ask you this. Okay, et cetera, et cetera. All right. And then just be honest about your mistakes and apologize. And adults, this goes for you too. I can't tell you how many times I have saved my relationship with my kiddo because I've said, look, dude, I messed up. I told you we could go to the dollar store today. I forgot I don't get paid till tomorrow. Can you hang out for 24 hours? Then I'll get you what you need tomorrow. Okay. That's way better than your kid going, you said we could go to the dollar store, and me going, no, I didn't. I didn't say that. Right. Just be honest. And kids, be honest with your parents. Look, I made a really bad choice. I was trying to impress a girl. I was trying to impress somebody, my friend. He told me to do this. I did it. I know it was wrong. I won't ever do it again. I'm really sorry. Okay. You guys, whoo, if you come do that with your parents, it's going to go over much better for you than lying or pretending it didn't happen. Okay. All righty. Let's see here. Aisha said the healthiest person in the family is the one in therapy. Therapy is maintenance, not just for crisis. Just like you guys might go on a jog each day or eat fruits and vegetables or drink water each day. Those are things we do for maintenance, like when we maintain a car and do an oil change and check the tires and put in fuel. Those are things we do to take care of the car so it lasts for a long time. We have to do the same thing for our emotional health. Okay. Those are great points, everybody. Thank you. All righty. This kind of touches on what I just spoke to about the siblings and families. This might be geared a little bit more towards the caregivers, but really we do as the adults have to lead in these sibling relationships. Make sure that if your parents help out with the family or you hire a babysitter, make sure they know how you resolve conflict in your family, how you speak to each other in your family, how the boundaries that you have set, like little Johnny is not allowed to go in, Timmy's room, things like that. Make sure whoever comes in to take care of your kids can support you guys in the boundaries and the rules that you've set. You guys need to encourage each other. Can you imagine? Okay, hang on. I got to see where we're at. How many of you are the oldest? So if you're the oldest in the chat, put a number 1. If you're the oldest, put a number 1. Aisha says me. Kirsten is. Yesenia. Wow, we got a nice. I'm an only child, so. Jen, Melanie, Lene. Excellent. Okay. If you guys are the second child, if you are the second, and I know some of you have high schoolers and middle school, so you can put for both. You can answer. Great. Neat. Oh, Elizabeth and her son are both the oldest, so they can both go, yeah, I had to, take care of everybody. And yeah, good. Good. All right. And then if you're the youngest, yep, we got Jen, Lene's the middle, Melissa, Abby's the second. Peter put 2 and 3. Good. And if you're the youngest, go ahead and put 3. So Adriana, Benson. And you don't have to be the youngest, but a second twin. Awesome. Oh, I love multiples. Awesome. That's a whole different thing. Twins and multiples right there. Cool. All right. So listen, there's actually books that talk about the different personalities that the firstborn and the secondborn and the thirdborn and et cetera have. Okay. So read books like that. Those are really excellent. But encourage each other. There's ideas. You can take a Post-it note and you can write and post it on their bedroom door. So when they wake up in the morning, they come out and there's a note on their door. You can put a Post-it note or write with dry erase marker only. Listen very carefully, not Sharpie. You can write with dry erase marker only, okay, on somebody's mirror. And you can go in and listen, your dads and moms need encouragement. Your younger siblings need encouragement. Your older siblings really need encouragement because they feel like they have to take care of everybody all the time, okay? So go in and encourage each other and make it specific. Man, I really love how even though you didn't make that goal in soccer, you ran out there and you stole the ball and you tried to make that goal. Man, Mom, I really appreciate that. No matter how tired you are, you always help me with my homework last minute that I tell you about, okay? So encouragement of others is part of healthy social emotional intelligence and routines, okay? All right, and then here's some ideas just for the families, and you'll get a copy of this, you'll get a copy of the presentation. And so these are things you can try. You can post a social contract. Here's how I want to be treated by my kids. Here's how my kids want to be treated by me. Here's how we're going to treat our household. And here's how we're going to, handle strangers and stuff like that. Chore charts, goal setting charts, other expectations and celebrations. You guys can have a family goal that you can work towards. Okay, as a family, if we go on a walk 5 nights this week, then we get to do a movie marathon on Saturday, something like that. Okay, so you can make your goals around creating emotionally intelligent things for you to do too. Okay. Up in this right-hand corner, and I'll go ahead, I should be able to, nope, just kidding. All right, we'll get that. Aisha, would you mind? Now it's looking like it's gonna let me. Anyway, Aisha, would you mind just typing this into the chat? So this is thank you so much. This is a book that's really excellent. I've used it with my kids. It's a book for helping siblings get along and raising healthy siblings. My biggest thing I always tell my kids is you want to be friends when you're older. Okay. My mom had 5 brothers and sisters. Only a few of them are friends. A few of them don't even speak to the family anymore. So you don't want to do such damage that you don't stay close. You want to stay close. Okay. That's your family, man, So this book is really excellent for how to develop those relationships as a family. Okay. All right. Whew. I know that was a lot of information. How we feeling? Somebody put in the chat something interesting they've learned so far. Yep, Jen says goal setting is the best. So right now you guys are putting in the chat something interesting that you've learned so far. Negotiation. Yes, Adriana, negotiation is beautiful. My parents, Tiffany, what does that mean? You got to unmute and tell me about that phrase, soggy. Tiffany says, my parenting,
Yeah,
tell
people
me.
say that I'm like soggy bread. I'm very soft on my kids and how I parent because I'm not like a yeller. I don't believe in corporal punishment. I'm like a talk to them about, why are you on the wall? What can we do to not be on the wall anymore?
Yeah.
And so even down to like my 4-year-old. So people are just like, they don't understand. Yes, they do. They're smarter than we give them credit for. So just like having those conversations is very encouraging for me to continue.
Excellent. Excellent, Tiffany. Wonderful. Yeah. And yeah, people just have opinions all over the place. And it's like, look, it's not your family. It's different if Tiffany went to a close friend or a close family member and said, hey, I do these things well, but I'm struggling here. Any advice? That's different. Nowadays, we just run all over and talk on Facebook and tell everybody everything they should be doing. So, Tiffany, I do encourage you. You keep going because you know I worked as a preschool teacher before I became a licensed certified teacher, and then I worked as a preschool director. We would teach logical, critical thinking skills in the infant room. We would start. We would continue it in the 18-month-old room, in the 2.5-year-old room. They knew logically and could, if I'm mad, I'm going to bite this pillow. I'm not going to bite my friend. They would learn it and fast. So Tiffany, great job, and all of you. I know I'm not, a lot of these things aren't new for many of you. So it's really awesome in the chat what you guys are saying. Social contracts, cool. Somebody thought that was good to set expectations. Yeah, I will. Yeah, I'm going to send that link, you guys. I'm sorry. I guess there's an error with it. So I'll send that link to Miss Melissa, and then we'll email it out with the survey link. Okay, sorry about that. So Kat put it was good about setting goals and respecting siblings and parents. Good. Excellent. And encouraging notes on mirrors. Yep. And oh man, you guys can write them to yourselves too. Okay. Something you're going to study hard and get a B+ on this test. You're going to study hard and get a B+ on this test. Okay. All righty. Let's see up here. Respecting parents. Yep. Encouragement of others. Slowing down and listening. Oh, such a big deal. I have my 5th grade students, bless their hearts. They just want to come up to me, all day long, all day. They just walk right up to me. So I started doing sticky notes on their desk. Okay. So they can still write how they feel, write their questions, write what the cool thing they wanted to tell me. And then I can come around when it's, quiet work time and affirm them and slow down and take that time, because right during a lesson isn't the time. So if it's not the time, keep a little jar of sticky notes. Your kid can write a thing on sticky notes and throw it in a jar. And then you can go back later during dinner time and read through the jar and learn about their day, that way, or learn about their needs that way too. So cool. And then listening to friends and family. Awesome. And asking for help. Cool. All right. You guys get to do some talking to each other, because what kind of teacher would I be if I just kept Charlie Brown want? Okay. So we're going to put you guys in some breakout rooms, and in the breakout room, let me show you what you're going to be doing. Maybe. There we go. All right. So if you can, with your phone, maybe snap a picture of this screen so you know what you're talking about. You guys are going to talk about, we kind of already did the first one, so we'll just talk about 2 things. A lot of us talked about what piece of information sounds the most interesting so far. If you want, you can still talk about that in your group as well. Then we talked about, I want you to talk about what are you already doing? Like I said, you guys are on it. And so what are you already doing that works? Give each other strategies, give each other ideas. And then for the kids, what have you guys already been taught at school? Random acts of kindness and capturing kids' hearts, and second step, and all these social emotional learning programs are teaching your kids things at school about how to feel better about themselves, how to handle their emotions. So I want the kids to step in and tell us, what are you guys learning already? Okay, so we have about a 5-minute time period here. I'm going to stop sharing real quick. And Melissa, is it just it'll pop up and invite them to the room?
Yeah, I'm gonna invite them now and make sure your cameras are on. And then Eliza wants one representative from each group to talk about what you guys discussed when you guys come back, okay?
Alrighty, so if you were in the breakout room 1, Melissa, do we have 6 of them? 6 rooms? Okay, so if you were in the first room, go ahead and if you were the representative, go ahead and share out what you guys learned or would like to share.
I'd like to share something, unless you pick someone. I like what the young man had, Ms. Watkins, your son. I mean, that idea about the jar and encouragement, I mean, that really stood out with me, you know, to say something good, you know, about, because, you know, it's so much, I don't even like being around negative people. But, you know, somebody every day just got some negative to say, not building up. But at his age, and, you know, just to think of, to do something like that, to put something, you know, in a jar and, you know, to encourage someone. And then later you just take it. I mean, and that gave me, I'm going to do that. And that is good for, and I mean, for the young people, because there's so much evil, so much going on all over the world. I mean, in all schools, you know, all races, all denominations and all that. And I'm an international missionary as well. And for that, for the children, I mean, because it's some of them will even murder their parents. I mean, the respect and things, but I was just listening to him as he was speaking. That was awesome. And I'm going to use that. And, you know, with the children, I mean, not only here, but worldwide. That is excellent. Now, did you start him? I forgot to ask her, did she start him with that? Or was that his idea? Or how did that, you know, because we were so good, we just talked about quite a bit. But I'd like to know how he, you know, started that later on, okay? That was, I mean, this is well needed. Well needed. This class.
And that was
well
what
needed.
family, I'm sorry, Dr. Martin, to interrupt. What family did you hear that tidbit from?
From Watkins, Elizabeth Watkins. And I mean, it was just phenomenal. I mean, it's just, and then cause like I deal with the children all ages, and then my, you know, one that's A students and all this, and then sibling rivalry. I mean, that was just amazing for someone that age to come, you know, to come up with something like that.
Neat.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank
I
you.
don't want to
so
take
much.
up all the time and preach.
No,
but
you're good. Yeah,
that was, I mean, this is well needed.
sure.
I hope you could do it again. I mean, for every level.
Yes,
I'm not
absolutely.
kidding. It's
Yep.
needed, not just for middle school
Yes, ma'am.
or high school. No, because we have A students
Yes.
that's really advanced and probably gonna move up until the middle school and all that. But I mean, excellent role models for leaders in class, even in elementary.
Yeah.
That's I'm not kidding. That's smart. And I'm going to recommend that you do that.
Yeah.
I don't mean to get you in trouble.
No. I appreciate it. No, gosh, I appreciate the feedback.
No, because I work with this, and then with even with police chaplaincy and stuff like that with the children.
Oh, sure.
I mean, no, I'm talking about that's real smart.
Yeah.
In elementary school, it doesn't just start in middle school or high school.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. Thank you for sharing. Group 2, breakout room 2. Did you guys pick a representative?
I don't remember my group number.
Okay.
But I can share.
Great.
So one of the ideas that we like was also the yard, what you put your thoughts on it. And I was looking at as the perspective of a teacher because I teach as well. So I have almost this year, almost 200 students. So I have students coming to my classroom all day long. So that idea, I really like that idea. And sometimes just thinking about how students write stuff to me instead of telling me, that gives them the opportunity to express themselves other than with words. Because I'm a high school teacher, so at that age, sometimes just writing stuff is easier than speaking. So I love that idea. I also have a teenager. When I get home after listening to a lot of these teenagers, he wants to share a lot. He shares. So and we have to take care of ourselves. I've been having some really hard days at school, and this idea it's just amazing. And as a group, one of our group members had the amazing idea of saying, putting a time to that. Okay, you can write it down and we're gonna talk about this at 7. So because you're saying just write it down, we're gonna talk about this later, that's probably, as a teenager, you're going to be hurt. She doesn't want to talk to me, or she's been talking to these kids all day long and now she's doesn't want to talk to me anymore. So having a time for us to talk about his stuff, that can be really helpful. And I like that idea. We also talk about social and emotional learning from one of the students, the only student at the group, and he shared that he hasn't been in contact with any of this information that is new to him. So thank you for doing this. So I think that summarizes what we talk about.
Yes, absolutely. And if you are that student, if you could message me or message Miss Aisha, if you could just see who comes up in the chat, please reach out. If you're that student, your school doesn't teach you guys about emotional intelligence or doesn't teach you about leadership or how to get along with other people, I really, really would love to get some sort of program in the hands of your administrators, okay? Because that's their job, you guys. It's their job to find resources that you need help with. And if you are finding this valuable, or you're struggling with something, and the adult leaders at your school or in your life aren't helping you, that's their responsibility to do that. And then that's the time that you step up and you can find it on your own, okay? My parents were amazing and I was an only child, and man, I can't even tell you, I wanted to know something and my parents did, I don't know, Eliza, go look it up. I would, man, I'd walk to the library, I'd read a book. In that book, it would have 3 other books listed. I'd go get those books and I'd read those books. Okay. So be encouraged, you guys, by the fact that as you get older and older, and oh man, with all the information available at your fingertips on the internet and just everywhere, choose the path of light. Okay. Choose the path of looking up, how do I talk to my friend about the fact that I don't want to do drugs? How do I talk to my girlfriend about the fact that, I'm waiting to be romantic until we get married? And I know there's younger kids, so I won't get into much, but, you look that stuff up. And all these resources will come up for you guys, okay? So you don't have to go through the big reference book with the big pages we had to turn, okay? You guys have so much information. Be careful, there's some good information and some bad, okay? But if you guys phrase things in a positive, I need help with this, you look for things. And as a teacher, here's what you want to look for. .org, that means organization. .edu, or that means education, or .gov, that means government. Okay. So as a kid, if it comes from one of those 3 places, it's generally going to be, something safe for you guys to read. Okay. All right. So Wikipedia, I don't trust Wikipedia. Anybody can put anything. Okay. There you go. There's my English teacher spiel. All right. Group number 3. Did you guys have a representative?
Yeah, I said I would talk. So we talked mostly about what we were already doing or what we were doing that was working. And I had mentioned that I put my son in therapy earlier this year because of some traumatic things that happened at school last year. And so we have basically like daily talk sessions where he comes to either my husband and I, and just unloads everything, everything from the day, positive, negative, all of it. And so that has really helped him. He was having problems with sleepwalking and stuff like that. And since he started this, he's gotten significantly better with that. I think it was Angela in our group said that her 6-year-old has actually been kind of the one that has started in her family, helping them to realize that they need to use their words and kind of directing them on what to do because they work with him so much. And then we had somebody post in the chat from our group because their microphone wasn't working that they use positive reinforcement, and that has seemed to help a lot, that her kids are much more compassionate. I don't think we really got to the question about what they've already been taught in school. I know as far as that question for my son, this is the first year that we put him in private school, and they definitely focus on that more than he's ever done in public school before or charter school. So I'm hoping to get him on track so that by the time he gets to high school, he's okay, he's good, and we'll bypass a lot of the high school problems.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I love it. Sometimes my little girls will look up at me and they just turned 6 and they, Mom, did you forget to use your words? I'm like, yes, I forgot to use my words. Did you forget to take your deep breath and then respond? And then I gotta take another deep breath for a minute and go, okay, you're right. Here's how I meant to say it. Here's how I meant to ask it. So that's awesome when the kids can the kids keep us in on track and in check,
Yeah.
Group number, are we on 5 now? 4.
I was 3, so
3. Thank you so much. So group number 4.
I can share. We had a lot of people talk about doing chore charts in our group, which is a great idea. And someone mentioned they use an app on their phone. Like you can just download a chore chart wheel, and you can plug in different things. So you can plug in like cleaning the bathroom. And so she said that she used that, which I thought was a great idea. Something my family started doing, I have a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old, so I have little ones, but we started doing a thankful pumpkin around this time of year. And at dinner time, we all just like take turns writing like something that we're thankful for. And it really like just changes our perspective and just helps us really focus on like the things that we're really grateful for. And they can be like silly things too. Like it can be unicorns or something. It doesn't have to be like serious, but it's just like, it's giving each person like a turn around the table to talk. And yeah, it's just a really great way to connect. So, and then there were a lot of other people that said that they like did mealtime as a way to connect, like doing highs and lows, good things and bad things the day. But I do think like around the dinner table is like such a great time to connect on a deeper level with your kids, and it's so valuable. So that's definitely a huge value in our house. So.
Wonderful. Thank you. I'm seeing in the chat as well, you guys were asking one another for the whomever had the chore wheel. Does somebody have a link for the chore wheel, or do you guys want me to, I can look one up real quick and put it in the chat if you guys want. I don't know who suggested the chore wheel. You can unmute if you suggested that.
I think it was Monica. Monica, were you the one that suggested it? No.
No, I just asked about it, and she said
okay.
That had consequences on it, not the chores.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I do the wheel. I do the spinner wheel, and we use it for like if they don't do their chores, or if they're fighting, like you said, like they're going in each other's rooms and they start hitting each other or something like that. There's a list of consequences on the wheel, and then like if they hit each other or something, they have to spin the wheel. But it's an app on my phone, so I can switch out the consequences on it. So like if they hit each other and they spin the wheel and they spin, like they get 2 extra chores that week, or they have to work together to like wash all the walls in the living room or the kitchen or something like that. And then we have like chore cards that we made, and it is specific down to exactly what they're supposed to do. And then when I made the cards, as a family, we went over each individual child's card that has their chores on it. And then we all signed it. Like they signed it, their dad signed it, I signed it, so that they couldn't say, well, I didn't know that. You didn't tell me that, or I didn't agree to that. So when they sign it, that was their way of saying, I acknowledge these are my chores. I've read it. I agree to it. And that's kind of how we have accountability, is that they've, and when like my teenager, for example, she's like, well, I didn't know I had to wipe the bathroom counters down. Well, it specifically says that, and you signed it, that you read it. So you need to go back and read it. And then she's like, oh my gosh. So it gives them accountability. Like you signed it, you read it, these are your chores. So it helps with accountability also. Having the little chore cards, and they have the same chores every week. And so every couple of months I change up the chores so that they're not, doing the same chores, their whole childhood. So I change them up every couple of months. Sometimes they swap chores. Sometimes I drop a chore and add something new. So that's how we do the chores. And then that's how we do consequences about things, is because for a long time, my kids were like, well, you are the one who chose that I couldn't go to the park today because I got in trouble and you punished me. So instead of them putting it on me that I punish them, well, when they spin the wheel and it lands on something, they can't say that anyone specifically punished them. Like when they spin the wheel, that's just what it landed on. You chose to act that way, and you knew that you were going to be spinning the wheel. So it gives them a lot more accountability when they're acting up, that, they know they're going to spin the wheel and there are consequences that will be followed through.
Right. Absolutely. And I love that personal ownership piece, because we just have those of us who are in here who are teachers, and also as families, just as we're out in public, it's just running rampant, this idea that you don't have to take ownership for your behaviors, and that you can act however you want, like Aisha says, without consequences. And there's, I can't think of who the philosopher was, but they just talked about the ripple in a pond. If you throw a pebble in a pond, all those ripples that it creates impacts the fish, the bugs, the insects, everything. So, we're each a stone, and we each create ripples in ponds every day, and we need to make sure that we take ownership, good and bad. So that's excellent. I saw in the chat. So in the chat, I just real quick found a chore wheel, and it's kind of cool. It almost looks like you could just take paper plates and do it. I like low cost or free. And so it's editable and printable. And so I put that link in the chat. And then I think everybody's asking Kelly for the name of the app. And was it like the chore app? Isn't that what you mentioned, Kelly?
Yeah, so I just downloaded just a general like wheel spin. I think when I went into the app store, I put like spinner wheel, and then I can change, like I can color code it, and then I can also add in my own things on the wheel. And then if you want like repeat, you can put repeat, so it puts the same thing on there a few times, things like that. So you can really customize it to what you want, and you can do multiple wheels on the same app. So you don't have to like delete any wheels. You can do like a chore wheel. You can do a consequence wheel. The other thing we do is a reward wheel. So when they earn a reward, there's a wheel with a bunch of different rewards on there. So they get to spend that, and it chooses a reward for them also.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. All right, group five. Group five, who's going to talk? We'll go ahead on then to group six, and then if you guys realize that you might have been in group five.
I never got a chance to go.
Oh, go ahead. Yep, that's what we're doing right now is group five.
No, I didn't go in the group, so I'm starting fresh. This will be their first time here next.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay, gotcha.
Do you want me to?
Sure. Yeah.
So can you do the questions? She had the questions on a screenshot and she was going through them. Can you go through them so I can say them again in order? So I know the first one was the best thing I learned from everything.
Right, and then it was. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No,
so it was what might you already be doing that's working well, and then for the kids, what are they learning at school that is teaching them about emotional intelligence?
Okay, so I already said what I liked in the chat. which was basically going back over everything and making sure everybody's accountable, you know. Um, but then as far as what's working right now is me being consistent. Because if I'm not consistent, my kids call me out on it. And sometimes it's embarrassing. At the same time, it works. I need to be called out, you know. Even as an adult, you need to be called out sometimes. And then for as the kids, like you said, as far as the kids is what I need to be improved on, is that what you said?
Or like, what are they learning in school that supports social emotional intelligence?
Oh, because I'm learning stuff in school myself. So I was kind of confused because I have a social worker that does a lot of social emotional with me. I'm a family outreach coordinator. So we do
Oh,
a lot of double teaming, if you want to, if you will. And so,
Don't forget that you have laundry to put away, dishes to put away, and medicine to put away.
Aisha, mute, honey. Sorry, I didn't mean to call you out. Go ahead, Jen.
She's on mute, I think.
they
I
got
just
me.
asked Jen. There you
Oh,
go.
you mean to mute me? I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Jen. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. So I was saying my daughter just started at Colorado Springs School, and they're so big on filling the bucket and emptying the bucket, and the social worker comes in there every week. And so last year I spent a lot of time trying to tell them what to do at her other school. I'm not going to mention what it is, but this school, I am very confident, and it's a learning curve for me not to get so involved. Does that make sense? They're doing,
Absolutely.
so I'm excited about that. So I won't talk no more. You guys can go.
Great. No, that's excellent. Thank you so much. And guys, this is so much gosh, I just look back, my boys are 18 and 14 now, and I'm like, oh, I did too much for them, and I rescued them, and I, you know, I didn't want them to feel discomfort or what, oh, come on, you know, that's how we grow. Okay. So it has to be an appropriate amount for their age, right? But when we swoop in and we keep our kids from feeling their consequences or recognizing that they have to you know, be held accountable for their consequences, it causes us more work. It's going to be worse for sending them out into society. You know, so then when the good Lord above deemed me worthy to raise 3 at one time, I thought, boy, I'm outnumbered from the get-go. These girls better put their own socks on. They better, you know. So from the time they're 18 months old, they're going around picking out their outfit for the next day. I mean, it's been really cool to empower them to become their own people from such a young age, because I know they're going to then go into the world with the life skills they need to succeed and help others succeed. And what more can you hope for as a parent, you know? So that's excellent, Jen, that you're that when there's that partnership, it's beautiful between school or church and home or school and home or whatever organizations you're involved in or sports, when the coach backs you up. Oh, those are just excellent partnerships to have. So if you're a solo parent or you don't maybe aren't in a supportive situation with your spouse or whatever it is, seek out that support from other, you know, entities and other organizations. Okay. All right, we'll finish up with group 6 and then I'll give you guys the last of my spiel here. Group 6, go ahead and share out. I don't remember your name, I'm sorry, but your mom's name is it Adriana on the chat? Is that right? Or was it, there was a gal who shared out who's a 10th grader, and I don't remember your actual name versus what's on the screen. Oh, it Lene. Yes, go ahead. Tell us your
Hi,
actual name.
Malia. I'm Malia. So, I like talked about how I like the mirror encouragement, like doing the encouragement on our mirrors where you can write something down, and I talked about that in one of like since like a lot of people were saying things about chores. My mom has a chore app that we have, and it's like we got cards. It's called Busy Kid, and it's an app, and we have like debit cards, and then she puts chores on us for our week, and then as we do them, they she puts money on it. So we'll have like if we do like clean the bathroom, she'll give us like 50 cents, but it still adds up. And so we use stuff like that, and just yeah.
That's excellent. And I just put that in the chat really quick. Thank you so much. So Busy Kid Chore app. So as children do their chores, they receive a deposit, and then they have a card that they can use. That's awesome. That's wonderful because it's teaching you guys that contractual system where you're working and then receiving something for what you're doing, and then it's also teaching you life skills and you're supporting the family. So that's great. You guys are excellent. I told you there were wonderful people in here with great ideas. So we're going to get on here with the last bit. So these are appropriate for 4th through 12th grade. Having self-awareness, you could draw a self-portrait. You could draw comic strips about how you feel or situations that you were in that you struggled with. Make sure to use your I statements when chatting with other people. You can do interest surveys to learn more about what you and your friends are interested in. If you want to practice self-regulation, so that's where you're, maybe you have something happen to you and instead of, you don't want to anymore just off the cuff having a reaction right away. You want to regulate your emotions. You can practice deep breathing. I know on the Alexa app, there's all these kinds of meditation and deep breathing. There's an anger meter that is available online, and it just kind of, you answer questions and it gauges for you how angry you are. You can meditate, and then physical fitness. Oh, physical fitness is excellent for emotional regulation because when you're physically active, it releases what's called serotonin. And so it releases that into your brain, which automatically makes your brain happier. And it just makes you more even keeled. And then if you've been running or playing football or soccer or whatever, you're just too tired, right? You're too tired to get too worked up about anything. Okay. So good physical routines. If you struggle with motivation, adults, you need to give those kids frequent, specific praise. Come on, buddy, look, you got a C on this test, and think about how hard you studied. And if you study a little bit harder and we do a little bit more practice each night with math, and we do 20 minutes a night instead of 15 minutes, I bet you can get a B on your next test, or you're going to learn this skill that you need to know, etc. Okay. So set short-term goals. If you got to clean your room, right? Clean your room. How many times have we said it? Put your laundry away, do your laundry, all that, okay? Do a small, I'm going to clean my desk off tomorrow. And then the next day, I'm going to clean this little corner and get rid of all these toys I don't play with anymore, okay? So take like a little snapshot in your mind of different parts of your room and set small goals for yourself, okay? If you want to build empathy within yourself, or you want to build empathy within your child, you can have them start volunteering so that they know, how other people feel. Going to counseling is excellent. They can draw pictures and make sure that they have a bunch of different types of friends. If you notice they only hang out with certain kind of people, maybe go volunteer somewhere where they're going to be exposed to a bunch of different people. Okay. If you're at school and you only have a certain group of people, the one thing the gal who just shared, which was excellent, was that they're encouraged at their school to go up to somebody who's eating lunch by themselves and say, hey, do you guys want to come hang with us during lunch? You guys, nowadays that could be the difference between someone living or dying, okay? And I don't want to be that serious with you, but it is that serious. We now have kids who are hurting so much, and maybe they don't fit in at home and nobody pays attention to them at home. Then they come to school and they don't fit in and nobody pays attention to them at school. So then they're thinking, well, why would I be here? Right? Why would I stay here if nobody cares I'm here and nobody likes me? I'm obviously such a loser. I just shouldn't even be here. Okay. And then they act on it. You can save somebody. Okay. Just by offering for them. You don't have to be best friends with them. You don't have to let them into your innermost circle, but just offer to let them eat lunch with you. Okay. It could be a big deal, a big game changer. Okay. So some things for high schoolers as you're going to college: make a vision board. Where are you? Where do you want to be? How are you going to get there? make sure your self-care routines are really important. If you're heading into college, you're going to be living with other people, and other people whose families either taught them different things than you or didn't teach them as much as you know. You want to go in and be able to be a leader of how you take a shower every day, you get a haircut every 4 to 6 weeks, however long, you know, you trim your nails. There's some kids you might be going to college with whose families never taught them that stuff, how to take care of themselves. Okay. Again, volunteering, creative writing, being a part of student council in high school so that you can then show that you were in National Honor Society on student council, and you can just move into natural leadership roles in college. Okay. And then social skills can be developed through choir, band, sports, all different kinds of clubs, language clubs, math clubs, geography club, whatever they offer that you're interested in, go join a club. You're going to meet new people. You're going to meet people who are different than you, but you're also going to share, you know, something, a similar like that you have. So that will help develop those social skills within you. Okay. Alrighty. These are a lot of resources. So I'm going to leave it on this slide for a minute. Please feel free to take a picture as I'm explaining what's on here. And so the first one is, gosh, my brain sometimes. It's a website about social emotional learning. And so if you just put in the website right here is the location of it, and it's free. These have resources pre-kindergarten all the way through 12th grade. There's a game on Etsy called the Emotions Game, and this is an excellent game to play with parents and kids of all different ages. It's $5, and it has different cards with scenarios. So if this were to happen, how would you feel? What would you do? Or give a time when this happened. How did you feel? What did you do? Okay, so that's a fun one. On Teachers Pay Teachers, there's an excellent game, and this is actually what's called cognitive behavioral therapy. So with cognitive behavioral therapy, you're actually retraining your brain for how it responds to trauma. You're retraining your brain for the response you want, not the response you might give in a situation, but it's all done in a game. And it's geared towards 3rd through 8th graders, but I'm telling you, I've played it with adults and it's done wonders. So again, it's $5 on a website called Teachers Pay Teachers, and you don't have to be a teacher to get it. I don't even think you have to have an account. You could just go in and search CBT Think Feel Do. If you just type in the search bar on that Teachers Pay Teachers website, social emotional learning, SEL activities, there's tons of activities. You can mark a box that says free. You can check a box that says under $5. There's all different grade levels you can check. So that's a great resource as well. There's one at the website called Centervention, which is digital. So that's nice because it's something you can do with your students on the computer. And then for the adults, Raising an Emotionally Intelligent Child. That's a book available through Barnes & Noble, Amazon, or Goodreads. It's $10 to $15. And I didn't write it, so I'm not trying to get you to do that. It's just, it really is it's a great book that puts, you know, into practice a lot of the things that I'm sharing here. I think we're good. Would somebody just give a thumbs down or put in the chat if they haven't got a chance to take a picture of this yet? And I think you guys should have received or will receive a copy of this presentation, so you'll have it that way as well. Oh, that's great. Melanie put that her kids are volunteering at camp. Camp and Share, or Care and Share probably, and then rescue mission, and just the development of character that happens. It's when you see people who have a lot more to complain about than you do, it really does help develop your character pretty quickly. So, alrighty. All right. Something that's near and dear to my heart, as I have symptoms of attention deficit disorder. My father does, my oldest son does, and my youngest triplet does. There's a bunch of different needs. So you might be or have a family member with special needs, dysgraphia, dyslexia, ADD, ADHD, who might be on the autism spectrum disorder, or who may have giftedness. And it's funny to say have giftedness. You know, we think smart people just have it made, and smart people don't have it made any better than anybody else. They can just fake it better sometimes. Okay, but giftedness is actually a neurodiverse. Their brains create synapses and work at a speed that's quicker than others, which is not always the benefit. Okay, so sorry, this makes me emotional as a mom and as a teacher. It's estimated that those with ADHD or ADD receive 20,000 more negative messages by age 12 than those without the condition. And they just finished the research on this in 2020. 20,000 more negative messages by age 12. Okay, so those of you who have a 12-year-old or somebody getting close to 12, if they have one of these, they're a neurodiverse individual, they probably have received a lot more negative messages. For my youngest triplet, those messages come from herself. I'm so stupid. Oh, I spilled that. Why can't I ever just keep my drink on the table? And I don't speak to her that way because that's not healthy, right? So these are coming from her as young as 4 years old. She noticed she was different than her sisters. Why can I not keep my face clean? Why do I have to spill something on myself every time I eat? I'm so clumsy. Okay. So a lot of times your kiddos, you may not even know it, are just feeding themselves constant negative narratives about how they're not good enough, they're worthless, and you're doing all this work to feed all this positivity into them, and then they're just still going downhill. Okay, so the deal is to get them to change their thinking. So again, you can look up books, or if you're a kid who feels that way, ask your school counselor or go on Google and look up, where's a book that will help me feel better about myself? How do I feel better about myself? Okay, so low self-esteem and shame lead to those high-risk behaviors. It leads to hanging out with people you shouldn't hang out with. It leads to doing stuff you shouldn't do. Okay, because you don't think you're worth much. So we want you to know you're worth a lot. You're worth everything. Okay, to your family, to your friends, to everybody who knows you. Okay, so you want to stay strengths based. In order to build your self-esteem, you want to stay strengths based. Okay, here's what I'm really good at. Man, I tell my little girl, I said, look, you might get food all over your shirt, but the dogs love you, right? You're the dog's favorite person because they jump on her and then they clean her right up, right? So I said, though, you make the dogs happy. So I said, you might be messy and you might be clumsy, but the dogs are thrilled. Okay, so you got to try to change that narrative and change that self-talk, within your kids and within ourselves, because I do it too. You want to have them journal. They can do an attitude of gratitude a day and one positive thing about myself and write it down every day in a journal on their phones, wherever. They just got to get it down. And then just focus on one thing at a time. I can look at my kiddos and I can tell you 5 or 6 things we have to work on, but you can never get your shoes on right, and you're such a mess when you eat, and you trip and fall all the time, and you interrupt everybody all the time. Right? Nobody needs to hear that. Pick one thing. Pick one thing. My love, I noticed you trip and fall a lot. So we're going to practice walking more carefully and do that for 6 to 8 weeks. The brain needs to do something for 6 to 8 weeks before it can start developing those new neural pathways and the new messages between the synapses for your kid to be successful. So practice, one thing 6 to 8 weeks at a time. It's okay. You got time. Okay. We got 52 weeks in a year. So that's quite a few skills we could practice. Just do one at a time and then celebrate the heck out of them when they get it. Okay. Alrighty. I think this is our last one, but college-bound students, college students. All right, I went to college and oh boy, I was out, baby. I got out of my city. I got out of my household. I did it. This was how I was going to do it, right? Was using my intelligence, okay? And then there's this term now I hate, ghosted. Anybody ever heard that term nowadays? Ghosted, Okay. I all but ghosted my parents because I was an only child. I was ready to go be me instead of all their hopes and dreams they had put on me all my life. Right. Okay. So, I called my mom about once a week. That wasn't enough for her. Okay. So here's what you got to do. You got to be aware as you're heading to college, your parents are going to need. Okay. They're going to be a bit needy for a while. They're going to need to know you still love them. They're going to need to still feel connected to you. My son, my 18-year-old only moved a few blocks away and I'm texting him every day just because, he's not in the household anymore, So you got to give us some time to adjust to you guys being gone because for you kids, think about it. Your parents do work with you up until you're 18. You become this cool, excellent, awesome person that you always were, right? And you've taught them things and you've taught people around you things. You're this great person and then you leave. And that's good. You should go start your life. You should go start your new adventure. But you have to understand for those of us, who have worked with you this whole time, we just miss you. We miss getting to share in how cool you are, and what a great friend you are. So use texting or personal messages to communicate. Now it's a little bit easier than when I went to college. Okay. Set an agreement for a weekly call, day and time, just like thank you for writing down your thoughts and feelings. I'll speak with you about them at 7 p.m. I thought that was the best advice that was shared. Set a day and time. And then when your mom's been, oh, you never talk to me. You never. Yes, mom, I do. I want to talk to you every Tuesday at 4. And today's Thursday. And I got a final coming up. So I will let you know how it went on Tuesday at 4. Okay. So set those healthy boundaries. Don't take it personally if they complain. They just love you and miss you. And then proactively inform your residence hall leaders, your counselors, other staff of any pre-existing conditions like depression, anxiety, bipolar disease, ADD, ADHD. Go talk to your professors, your counselors, the people at the college. Go talk to people about these things. Only people who will keep it confidential about what you might need that's different or extra than what other college kids might need. It will keep you from starting to go down a path where you're not going to be successful, and then it piles up so much, then you just get afraid to ask for help because it feels so overwhelming. Okay, so go before any of that happens and let them know who you are and what you need. Okay, and then because there's younger kids in the group, I'm just going to say educate yourself about healthy coping mechanisms. So they're called healthy coping mechanisms, going on walks, journaling, meditation, exercise, joining a club, joining a support group, going to counseling. Those are healthy coping mechanisms. Okay. There's other stuff in the world that might solve the problem or seem like it right away, but long term, it's going to be unhealthy, okay, and very unsafe, okay? Alrighty. Oh, last one. So sorry. Okay, last one for real this time. So we want to rewire ourselves for respect because our respect of other people determines our integrity. And our integrity, which is what we do when nobody's watching and nobody's telling us what to do, our integrity is our character and it is who we are. So respect starts with clear boundaries. You can do this if you're 5. You can do this if you're 15, 25, 85. Figure out, what do you want? What do you need? I'm a mom. I'm feeling overwhelmed by all of my obligations at home and at both of my jobs, and I'm in school. What do I want or need? 72 hours of uninterrupted sleep, okay? Ain't gonna happen. So how can I change my wants and needs around what's realistic for my life, okay? How do you communicate this in good times? Be honest with yourself. When I'm in a great mood, I can hear no. But if I'm in a bad mood and somebody tells me no, you better bet there's going to be a fight. Okay. No, you got to think about when you're stressed out, how you reply, when you're triggered, how you reply, and then, how you communicate when things are going well. And then, do you allow, this is a big one, do you allow how other people act and other people's choices or how other people treat you and interact with you? Do you allow that to change who you are or how you act? If your mom's had a bad day and she screams at you, do you scream right back? And then you're like shocked at yourself. I don't scream at people. Why did I just scream at my mom? I'm not even in a bad mood, right? Why would I just scream at her like that? Oh, well, I felt triggered because when she screams at me, I get stressed out and uncomfortable and I want it to stop. And so I scream back because I just try to make it stop. Okay. So think about when other people act certain ways that you can stop, breathe, and respond. Okay. Alrighty. One of my favorite quotes of all times comes from a man named Viktor E. Frankl. Viktor E. Frankl was a survivor at Auschwitz. So he was a survivor of World War II. And he says, between stimulus and response, there is a space. Okay. In that space is our power to choose our response. And in our response lies our growth and freedom. Okay. So something's going to stimulate you. Something's going to set you off. It might be a parent. It might be a child. It might be a student. It might be whatever. There's going to be a stimulus, okay, good or bad, right? That's going to make your brain feel a certain way, make your heart feel a certain way, give you that lump in your throat. Okay. You have space. In that space is where you're going to stop. Take a deep breath. Okay. In that space is your power to choose your response. In your response lies your growth and your freedom. Viktor Frankl also said, my freedom came when I was in the cell and I realized my tormentors could do whatever they wanted to my body, but they could not do anything to my mind and my soul. And that's where he was free. And that's true for all of us. So if your home life isn't that great, I get it. Okay. You have the choice of being the change you want to see and deciding what your response is going to be in that space in between your stimulus and how you choose to act. Okay. All right. You guys have been excellent. Let's see.
This was a great presentation. Thank you so much. There was a lot of good information.
Extremely phenomenal.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cool. Thank you guys. Make sure to hang out because we have some door prizes and they'll read your name off before you leave. But gosh, thank you guys. This was an excellent group. I just love Parents Challenge because you guys are doing amazing things for your families. You kids that are here are amazing. I know you don't always want to be here, but you are so smart to listen to your parents and come to these things. Okay. You're going to be better for it. So thank you all, really.